Hey traders, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to do things a little differently. It's going to be mostly just going over a concept as a whole. And that concept is just kind of how to set up very, very easy swing trades by finding out bottomed plays, okay, where the bottom already is. Right now, we're seeing a lot of opportunities like this in the market, with the market as a whole coming down. So we've seen a lot of stocks recently take beatings, but this is coming after the summer where a lot of small caps and mid cap stocks had already taken pretty significant beatings. So right now we're approaching, what makes a very, very easy risk to reward swing play for a lot of stocks. So I'm going to show you guys how to find those, what I look for, and I'm going to give you 7 different examples of how I'm personally, trying to play these bottomed out plays and, have very, very easy rewarding swings as a result. I'm going to get into that. And then, that's pretty much it for today. So without any further ado, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let's get started. All right, so here we have it, the first of just a few examples that I'm going to go over today here for bottom out swing plays. As we see here, this is for Wish. This was a play that got very, very hot in early summer, but since then has taken a pretty brutal beating. And as of today, we saw it set new all-time lows since it IPO'd in the beginning of this year, reaching an overall low point today of 481. And as a result, we see that, when it's trading right near that level, it was close today at 485. We have ourselves a very, very easy swing play. And the reason being is that we know that, if there were to be a potential bottom and a potential risk spot, it would be right here at those all-time lows at 481. So that's going to be our risk level moving forward. So if we can buy it, like, for example, at 485, then our entire risk is only 4 cents per share, which is ultimately nothing. And we can load up pretty heavy along this level, knowing that, if it does go to 480, well, then all of a sudden we're waiting for a new bottom to form. So we're going to cut our position, take a very minimal loss, and then wait for the next opportunity to load up this, very popular play for the future of e-commerce. But, if that 481 level does hold, well, then all of a sudden we're going to see this chart start to curl, and we could see a move back up to $6, $7, even $10, very, very soon by the end of the year, potentially. And that's going to be massive returns for minimal risk. So that's essentially what we're working with here. So I always, when it comes to these plays that are sitting near these local lows or even all-time lows, I'll just, quickly document that risk level. I'll set my stop loss at that level. And then after that, I'm going to let it ride stress-free, knowing that if the trade doesn't work out, I'm going to take a minimal loss. But if it does work out, I'm going to get a pretty nice return off my investment. The only other thing I'm going to check after that is I'm going to take a look at the RSI on the daily chart. I'm going to see that, for this one, for example, it's an extremely oversold territory. And as a result, that eventually everything does regress to the mean. It is going to start to curl eventually and go back up. It can't just sell off forever. So that is the first of many examples that I'd like to go over. This is one that I very much like moving forward. Another one similar kind of story here is TLRY. This is a very popular weed name. Saw a huge run in February. Saw some sustained kind of success there in the 20s and high teens over the next few months after that. But then recently, with the market going down, we have seen this stock tumble to its lowest points today since all the way back to the start of January when the Democrats won majority control over the Senate. So this has seen, once again, another massive sell-off. It has set kind of, lows as far as for the last 8 months have gone today, 9 months even. And so this is a very, very easy risk level off the daily lows today at 1068. It closed at 1074. So ultimately, you're only risking off 6 cents per share. But that eventually, once the chart does curl around, you're going to see the stock go at least back up to that $15 level, if not that $20 level. So ultimately, another very easy risk, low risk, stress-free swing setup. And as you guys can see here, The daily RSI shows that it is also in that oversold range. Just more examples like that. I'm going to go over the specific levels I'm looking at today. Another one that saw some, pretty recent lows is TCAT. This is a popular NFT play that has seen the potential for massive rips, reaching highs of over 70 back in March, and has since then, seen its peaks and valleys. It does tend to rip up whenever the NFT sector as a whole gets hot. But right now it is sitting near these lows that it hasn't seen for the last 2 months or so. So 687 was that daily low. It curled off of that level. So I'm going to use that as my risk zone, knowing that if it breaks below, I can just cut it. But then anything that I can add as close to that 687 marker as possible is something I'm going to be interested in swinging. And then as you guys can see here, it's not as oversold as the other plays, but it is still in oversold territory. And we know that the NFT sector is going to get hot again. So this is what makes it really appealing. Another NFT name I'm looking at, same kind of setup here, is YVR. Now, YVR, this isn't really, kind of a new level that we're used to, but nevertheless, this has been our low point for, the last year or so. It's been over a year since this stock has went below that 145 level. Today, it reached lows of 152. And so as you guys can see, it is near its bottom here. And then we know that whenever that NFT sector does heat up again, this should see a return to that $3 range or $2 range, at least as a minimum. So it's going to have a pretty nice payout here if it can hold that 145 level. And if you can add as close to that 145 level as possible, you're going to see yourself with another pretty easy risk-free swing play. Another stock I was looking at today is going to be LEDs. This is a semiconductor play, and right now it is approaching its lowest points since we kind of, realized as a country and as, an international community that there is a semiconductor shortage and that it's not going away anytime soon. So that really happened around May. That's when this stock is, took off, but then it kind of died out in the summer with all the other small cap and mid cap names. And right now it is once again approaching those low points that, we faced and battled with for, the first time, since that semiconductor shortage really became a problem. So 707 was that low point that we saw back in August. That's where we got a nice bounce all the way back to highs of about 11, almost $12. And right now we are once again approaching that level. So it is a pretty easy ad zone here to see if we can once again kind of bounce off that low 7 level and get ourselves a return to the double digits. RSI once again showing that it is in oversold territory. FUBO was another one that's been on my radar recently. This is a play that, saw a huge spike earlier in the year, had some disappointing earnings later on that caused it to crash, but then came out with a really, really nice earnings report in late May. It caused the, script to flip for this stock. We saw a return back all the way into the 30s, highs of about 35 this summer, but recently, once again, has been beaten up with the rest of the market, and it has fallen out of that low 30s, high 20s range that it's been trading at, all the way back down to lows today of 22.72. Anything close to that, once again, it makes sense to me as a pretty easy, low risk swing play for a company with a very bright future that has a lot of exciting projects coming out in Q4 with the FUBO Sportsbook. So once again, if this company does pique your interest, this isn't a bad time to start building up for a swing, knowing that, if that 22.75 level doesn't hold, you can just cut it and re-add once a new bottom forms. Final one to take a look at today is Root. This is very reminiscent of what we're dealing with Wish stock. This is an IPO that came out at the very end of last year. Insurance company built for the modern world, a ton of future potential. That's given it pretty, big rips to the upside whenever it has any sort of news. So, it has that rip potential. It has a small float. That's what excites me about the play. But as you guys can see today, trading very, very close to those all-time lows as a stock, which sit at 467. So anything you can buy that's close to that is ultimately going to lead to a very, very easy swing play. And then just double checking with the daily RSI. you can see that it is approaching extremely oversold territory, which once again just adds to the storyline that eventually, these plays can't just sell off forever. They're going to swing back to the upside. And as a result, if you can predict the bottom, you're going to see yourself with a very, very nice return. So those are the 7 examples I kind of chose to go over. Those are the ones I'm interested in playing. But right now, if you look across the board, there are tons of these types of plays setting up in the market. What I recommend for you guys to do is find the stocks and the companies that you resonate with, the ones that you've traded before and have had success with. And if they have a similar setup, then why not take a shot at starting another swing on some of these plays? Ultimately, the risk is minimal, the reward is very high, and that's exactly the kind of swing trade that you want to get into as a trader. So that's what I got for you guys today. Let me know, what you think about that kind of strategy of how to find those bottomed out plays. If you have any questions for me, let me know. If you like this video, hit me with a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe to the channel. And aside from that, have a great rest of your night.